I mean, Riley Cooper, I mean, like, that dude deserves a statue. I mean, like,
number one on your speed dial.
Hey, I'll tell you what, like, I mean, I didn't know until a couple days after the fact. I was like, wait a minute, is he the MVP or like we got the all-tournament team?
No doubt about it.
And then Ty Floyd, when I struck out 17, and like stole it from him. But I was like, when has a pitcher like been a part of like 5 of the 6 wins in Omaha? I mean, what a performance!
Coach, it's great to meet you.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you for the time.
Pleasure.
Yes, sir.
Sharp a little late, boys, at the spring game, obviously, as you can see. Couple of booze cruises here to do. Let's fit. Cruise. Grand salami to the boys. Finally back on track. And I got another one coming. Don't you think I don't? And that's how we roll in Tiger Stadium.
Just watching the spring games that were on television, one thing that jumped out about your squad is your quarterback room is very talented compared to a lot of the league and a lot of the country. I wonder, is it easier to recruit that position when you have talent or when you don't have talent? Coach Kelly, we're official.
Finally,
I'm
get a
telling
chance to meet you. Thought I had to get a private audience with the Pope. There's Jordy.
Monday through Friday from 7 to 9. Yeah, you see the notification, we about to go live. We got all your favorite guests, we got them in line. It's the Jordy Culotta Show, come have a good time.
Tearing up, answering the question, and I thought, my God, if Chica is offered this job, she's going to take it.
It's just a crazy, fun time at LSU right now. Isn't this what everybody loves?
From the boot to the east to the west coast, no matter where we at, open up the phone lines, come and join the show. Make sure you tell your friends about Jordy Culotta Show, yeah.
Let's go! Let's go!
All right. Nice start. Big day. Nice start.
It's the Jordy Culotta Show, come have a good time.
Coach, it's great to meet you.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you for the time. Welcome into a Friday edition of the Jordy Culotta Show, live here from Click Here Digital, our campus in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, on this little warm Friday morning in November.
A little rain coming.
Yeah.
A little rain coming.
Yeah, it's kind of a weird feeling.
Florida weekend.
Florida weekend.
Feels like the
Gators are in
swamp.
town.
You know,
Right.
Florida people in town.
We are going to talk a lot about the LSU-Florida matchup. Glenn West is going to stop by from 247. G will be here at 7:30 this morning. We will also talk to Jake Crane about the college football weekend coming up at 8:15. And then we'll have Shea Dixon inside the studio.
Probable.
At 8:30. He's a probable. Maybe a game time decision for Shea D.
See if he trots out in the 5.
That'll be a part of today's Southern Regional Medical phone lines. Shout out to our crew over at Southern Regional Medical Center, Charlie Harvey, Jason Ramazan, and the crew, Real Doctors, Real Solutions. We will close out the week and get set for LSU-Florida tomorrow night inside the swamp. We'll also have sound from Brian Kelly as he met with the press yesterday. Kelly, in his typical media roles, closed out the week last night over at TJ Ribs for his weekly radio show, and also had a little post-practice presser for for yesterday to close out his media week.
And we got some quotes from the
SEC
TJ Ribs.
Oh, nice.
No audio or video, just the written word from Wilson Alexander. Our guy was live tweeting.
Okay.
Because he had to address the timeout situation that happened in the
in the first quarter?
Yeah.
Or the first drive?
First drive.
It was weird.
Major Burns.
Yeah, it was.
That's a tease. We'll get to it.
All right, make sure you hit that like button, that share button, that comment button. We appreciate you being here and closing out your week here with us. If you have not subscribed to the show, please do that. If you don't mind, hit that thumbs up as we will be here with you until 9 a.m. this morning. Shout out to the St. Jude Men's Club last night. Was out at the St. Jude Men's Club on Thursday night. Great crew. Always love going back to St. Jude and met with all those guys out there and talked football, and it was always it's always cool to be there. Food was fantastic, great room. Appreciate them for having me out. All right, so LSU-Florida this week is Saturday night, Tiger Stadium. Should be a great atmosphere. Rain's supposed to be coming during the day tomorrow. Is that right? Hopefully not tomorrow night.
Wait, aren't you up for some major award with St. Jude?
No, that's we're doing the Flower Fest. It all benefits St. Jude Children's Hospital.
Oh, okay. Well, congratulations.
Thank
Good
you.
for you. That's good philanthropy, Jordy.
Thank you.
Yes.
Doing
Hand to the
good,
people.
doing good philanthropy work.
We'll be getting you that QR code. I'm trying to get that money up for our we're a ambassador with the Flower Fest. Amy Vanderveer and her great staff and crew and all the things that are going on with Flower Fest. Looking forward to and really cool to be a part of.
A little light rain in the morning.
Okay, not bad.
Yeah,
I do.
Not too.
Cool it off a little bit.
Party box tomorrow?
Party box tomorrow. I got the brother coming in town. You've met Sean.
Oh, God.
Should be epic.
Well, that changes the
For
game.
the box.
He tried to make me go pick him up at 11:47 in New Orleans when his flight landed. He's like,
wow.
"We're gonna go see my friend. Maybe haven't seen him in a minute." I was like, "Sean, I have work at 6 a.m, dog. Like
this ain't.
Dad's coming to get you. This is not going to be the time you thought it was on the way here on a Thursday night.
Get to your contingency plan.
Put
brother.
your seatbelt on after you took it.
Come on, bro.
Come on. Yeah, what are we doing? It's like, we'll save all that for the party box. It's going to be a time. Florida
It should
game.
be. Yeah, right. Florida weekend.
They're even 33-33.
Wow.
Serious.
Makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
It's a weird
It
thing.
does. It's been such a roller coaster ride of a series. We talked a lot about the games back and forth
That was so much fun.
yesterday, of just kind of the history of this rivalry and the history of the meeting. And it has been one that Florida has dominated for a time, that LSU caught back up, and now they've kind of gone blow for blow on who's year in, year out, who hates each other more. I mean, it has turned into a real slugfest. And each time they meet up, something weird now kind of happens. It kind of has a little bit of an Auburn feel to it. Here's Brian Kelly yesterday. He was speaking with the press and talking to the media as he was giving his updates on his quarterback, Jayden Daniels, and where he stood going into Saturday night.
What number is this?
This is one.
It's on the call sheet, Stuart.
He practiced again today, so he will most likely pass the protocol, and I would say that he is probable for Saturday.
Just got my X account suspended.
More from whoa.
Wow.
Damn it!
Stewie football too.
In the Elon Musk era.
I know Stewie football. Didn't
Bad,
do anything.
bad boy on X.
More from Kelly talking about the update on Jayden Daniels. This is to Stewie about him through the protocol this week.
Lloyd King County, yeah.
I think most of the things that he normally does within his preparation, he's been able to, I think, prepare in the manner that he feels comfortable and we feel comfortable, or we wouldn't put him out there. Garrett's too good of a quarterback for us to compromise the offense in any way.
Little nuts praise.
Good recruiting soundbite there.
Retention.
Other quarterback coming in this week is Graham Mertz. He is a transfer out of Wisconsin to Florida. Kelly was talking about the challenge that Mertz presents the Tigers this weekend.
Yeah, very comfortably. I think that's the thing. The offense fits him very well. I've said this a few times now. He's completing at about a 75% clip, which is, obviously highly efficient. I think the offense just really fits him well. He just looks comfortable back there within the structure of the offense, and he's been really good this year. He came out of high school. I recruited him and thought he was an outstanding player coming out of high school. Thought highly of him, and I don't know whether it was a system fit or whatever it was at Wisconsin. Maybe didn't have the kind of career that he might have wanted, but he's certainly living up to the expectations that I saw for him coming out of high school.
More from Brian Kelly yesterday talking about his defense and the emphasis to get off the field on third down and what the message has been this week for LSU defensively.
Yeah, well, they've kept it very manageable on third down. I think that's probably the key is, getting them behind the chains. They're really good at keeping it, third and manageable. So getting them into 3rd and 7 or more is really what is going to be important for us. First down's really important for us. So, those key downs, P and 10, 1st and 10, starting the series off is going to be important for us to get them into 3rd and long.
I mean, LSU's been getting a lot of people in 3rd and long, and it hasn't really made a difference.
Yeah, they just need to get off the field.
It can't.
This is Kelly being asked about Matt House this week and what's going on with the defense on that side of the ball. 5. Stewie.
What happened?
Well, certainly, we've had some injuries, some key injuries. Mekhi Wingo was a very versatile player for us that could play both a 5 technique and, a shade, and that gives you the versatility to play both 4 down and 3 down. He was an extremely versatile player for us. The other things that obviously affect that, certainly the safety depth, where, you have to be very careful in the cornerback position. So, there have been some limitations that you try then to look to put your 11 best players on the field. And so is it 3 down linemen? Is it 4 down linemen? You look at, what's the best thing for us relative to the defensive structure that matches the best 11 players. And so sometimes you lose the flexibility when you have to look at it in that regard. And that's kind of what we had to do and settle on a defensive structure that allowed our guys to play fundamentally fast and sound, and maybe give up a little bit of that flexibility.
This is 8, Stewie. This is Kelly talking about the freshman cornerback, speaking of flexibility and what the personnel is going to look like this weekend. Here was Kelly talking about what the defensive back end could look like with some fresh faces.
They're excited about their opportunity. They're locked in. They are absorbing all of the information. But, we have to be careful not to, put them in positions where it would have required a lot of experience to know these things, right? Like, hey, you should have known that. Well, I've played 2 games, in the SEC. So they've done a really good job of stepping in as true freshmen and competing. But we have to help them and making sure that we put them in a good position to succeed.
Injury report for Saturday night, what the Tigers look like going into the game versus Florida.
Not that I'm aware of. Logan Diggs, I would say that he is I would put him as questionable going into Saturday. He was in a red jersey today, non-contact. We'll see how he responds tomorrow.
Lower body injury?
He had an upper body injury.
Not lower, upper.
Upper.
That injury thing not working out as much as you would like it to in November.
He's a full go on a lower body injury. He's doubtful on an upper body injury.
That's right. Last one, Stewie. The acceptance, the success that LSU's had in recruiting in North Louisiana. What Brian Kelly makes of it. This is the last one.
Oh, I got you.
What's go?
They're not. They don't go in order.
I think I was indoctrinated to Northern Louisiana as an area that we had not been aggressively recruiting for some reason. And again, I could be wrong, but that's kind of how I was, indoctrinated into Louisiana recruiting. So I've been up there several times, and there's really good football, great coaching, really good players, and state champion teams up there. Our recruiting coordinator, our head of recruiting, J.R. Benton's from there, so I hear about it every day. So Northern Louisiana is going to be recruited vigorously because of that.
Brian Kelly talking about J.R. Belton and the crew from West Monroe. Belton, of course, the former West Monroe standout, and now leading the recruiting division for LSU. Really done a nice job of closing the gate to outsiders, at least in North Louisiana, and building the inroads that LSU was really lacking over the last couple of years. That it seems to be paying off over LSU, especially when you look at the offensive linemen they've been able to get out of the last couple of classes. Obviously Campbell and Hurd coming from that way, but you just were able to get Joseph Cryer out of Natchitoches Central. He played at Manny as well. But even guys like Tylen Singleton. And I mean, there's just – it feels as if LSU is now a player again in North Louisiana and really being taken seriously on the recruiting trail. And that's something that they had really lacked for a while. I mean, they just – that there was a breakdown in what was happening in recruiting and building the roster, and just having the absence of North Louisiana. I mean, it was tough to be able to stay competitive, but not being able to recruit that area. We'll talk to Glenn West a little bit about that. Shea Dixon is scheduled to be here at 8:30 this morning with LSU back on campus, the anticipation of what the roster and what the recruiting weekend is going to look like. We'll also talk a little bit of basketball with Glenn West as the LSU men back out on the floor tonight. The ladies got their rings last night in a big win over Queens inside the Maravich Center. So we'll talk a little bit about what's happening with the basketball teams and the Tigers getting back on to the floor. But we'll also focus obviously on LSU and Florida coming up on Saturday night, which should be a really good matchup again. I mean, these matchups always have high emotion. It's always kind of hard to predict what's going to happen with these LSU-Florida games of late, because there's been a ton of emotion that's been going into these games. I mean, that there has turned some sincere hate into both sides of this game. So it usually brings something kind of crazy, kind of weird that'll happen. I mean, obviously the shoe game being the highlight, but this game always is kind of a back and forth. And I'd expect nonetheless on Saturday night, especially with this defense. I mean, with LSU's defense and the inability to stop or feel like they can adjust to stop anyone, it really leaves the opportunity for these fourth quarter games and for these one possession games late into the contest to really stay alive. So it's hard to predict what these games are going to look like and feel like. Especially when this series has been as back and forth as it has. It really doesn't feel like it depends on where each team is, if one team's struggling or not. I mean, it usually is going to be... You
either play up to your competition or down to your competition, however, which team is good that year, but it's never a game you can gloss over, which is when the schedule came out, it felt like you looked at this and you're like, oh, it's usually Arkansas, and LSU usually, from just my previous experience, it's a kind of a flop game after Alabama. You just kind of hope to get through it. Now with it being Florida, do you think that's an advantage or disadvantage, regardless of if they're good or not, but kind of get your blood boiling a little bit to where you have to scratch that itch?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's different too. It's different on the schedule. It's a different type of preparation. It's one that can really captivate you, I think, if you're a player. I mean, like we said, there's just a ton of emotion in this game. So it could play up to LSU. It could play into LSU's favor as far as the focus goes on being prepared for Saturday. But nonetheless, I do believe that it'll be just a typical LSU-Florida game. Highly emotional, highly competitive, fourth quarter, one possession, with still opportunities to win it late in the game for both teams. So it should be a typical matchup. We'll talk to the crew coming up about that game here, and we also want to wish everybody out there a happy early Veterans Day, as Veterans Day coming up, I believe on the 11th, on November 11th, tomorrow. So if we want to make sure and recognize all the veterans out there, to have a good, safe day, salute your service. Thank you for what you do, and enjoy the weekend, enjoy the day, as Veterans Day will be celebrated tomorrow on what should be a great night in Tiger Stadium. I have a wedding tomorrow, oddly enough.
Oh, this man.
Who in God's green earth would do
what
that?
What in torn nation is that?
That's a fireable offense.
Yeah, that's I'm not getting married to you.
Yeah.
Offense.
Is this man a LSU fan?
Yeah.
He must not be.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a
fair weather fans.
It's
maybe he planned when they planned the wedding. It's like, it'll be Arkansas.
I don't think so. I
If
think this was fully coherent. This was fully. Yeah, they knew that. They knew exactly what was going on. This is a weekend after an away game, 2 weeks after a bye.
You could have
a week before a non-conference.
This is a spite move. This is a total spite move. Have you ever been clipped and snipped? Because you're about to on Saturday.
It's a full weekend wedding. It's one that Friday night get together, Saturday
those
night
are fun.
bash, Sunday afternoon brunch. It's the whole deal. We're about to gear up for a 72-hour run here.
Bender.
Yes.
I could count on one hand how many times I've made it.
Bender.
How many times I've made it to the brunch on Sunday.
We may not even know a game's going on tomorrow night at 6:30.
Oh, no.
God. Have fun.
Oh, no. Is it in Louisiana?
It is.
Okay.
It is.
But
I can't say that I'm that mad at it.
Yes, you can.
You can say whatever you want.
No. I'm being honest with my feelings. I'm saying I'm not
You're checked out. What if LSU had won and beaten Alabama?
It'd be a little bit more
interesting.
Yeah, it'd be a little bit more interesting. But with the accessibility of smartphones and how you can access stuff now, nothing is really out of play.
It's LSU-Florida at night at home.
That's a good point, and that's one that I cannot debate, and I cannot come back with.
You have a lot to play for. 10 wins.
Yeah, no, it's
a lot to play for.
It's a big night, and it's one that the atmosphere, I'm sure, is going to be. It should be electric. It should be awesome.
Yeah.
Really kind of thinking about it, if there was a game that I really wanted to go to,
it was this one.
It would have been this one.
This one's probably the one that, if you could step away from the body of work, after the season, you're like, which game would you like to go to? If you could do it all over again, probably the Florida game.
Yeah,
the
LSU-Florida at night.
Yeah, the night game. A lot on the line. Weekend after Bama.
Have a Heisman.
I guess Jayden Daniels is going to play, right?
I was going to say you get to watch a Heisman contender, Heisman season, number one offense in the country. No, I'll go watch some nuptials.
We definitely discount his toughness.
Absolutely.
It's been showing all season. Oh, sorry.
What you watching over there?
The man is in a pretzel after Twitter got suspended. So
I'm hurting right now, Coach.
He's trying to. He can't watch his football games over there.
Elon is
can't sign into
cucking me right now. Dude takes over Twitter and just takes my Twitter.
He's gonna have to work over there. He's not distracted.
It's pulling a video though.
If I ever get married in the fall, I'll even put it that carte blanche. come and get me. Come grab me, put the old school me, put the bag over my head, throw me in a van, and be like, Lloyd, this is not you.
Bro, are you
You
okay?
care about literally one thing in your life, and it's LSU football. Don't be standing up there in a penguin suit going, I do. Because I do not.
If you do that, I know something changed.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, what if you
If you do that, you're miserable.
Yeah, you've given up.
That's right.
The old dog has come to roost.
Yep.
But I think that this is I don't find any spite in it. You know, I mean, it's very open to they understand that there's other things going on. You can come or go, right?
It'll probably be fun.
I mean,
they must want a small wedding.
They prop your phone up and
absolutely.
Oh yeah.
Start time 6:30 too.
And everybody is going to be huddled around one person, just like.
The bathroom is going to be full.
Wait, he's watching the game.
Yes.
Wait, you got the game on?
Will you get out the stall?
Then you got people people that are like ahead of each other. Wait, what happened? What happened? What happened?
3rd and 10, 3 minutes left in the first. Tigers up 14-10.
Our
Thank
Father,
you.
who art in heaven.
I do.
I do. What if it's it would be an ultimate move just to be like, drop the curtains. I don't. Roll in the TVs. This is actually a watch party, boys. Let's go. I couldn't get tickets, but I got all my best friends here. Clear out the brides. Yeah! Have Trombone Shorty come on, play the fight song.
That's what I'm saying. Like, this is the type of wedding where, like, he could show up. Trombone Shorty.
Oh,
you know what I mean? Like, it's
big time.
It could be a big
you're going
win.
for the party.
Could be a big win.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
Yeah.
I mean,
Come back, fellas.
LSU and Florida play every year. You know, like, this can only happen once in a lifetime.
Not anymore.
Right. That's true. Good call, Lloyd.
Yep.
Good call.
Yeah.
What is this, every other year now?
We'll see when the schedule drops. The baseball one just dropped. Just interesting little
I saw that.
matchups.
Permanent opponents for LSU, what, Ole Miss and Texas A&M?
Texas A&M.
I don't hate it.
Yeah, I
No,
don't
it's
hate
Mississippi
it.
State.
No,
and
Mississippi
Texas
State
A&M.
and Texas A&M.
Yeah. You got the
Mississippi State,
Thunder and Lightning rivalry that's going to be renewed.
Pass them back, Ags.
Pass them back, Ags. Why would Texas A&M want the LSU baseball smoke?
Seriously, they probably got that. They're like, jeez.
This drops
man.
the
And
day.
they got
Texas in football.
I think it's Texas and LSU in baseball too.
It is.
It's like, damn.
How y'all like the SEC now? And they still got that Jimbo National Championship trophy just with no date on it. That's the first thing he got when he
That's
signed
right.
with A&M.
And the cowboy boots.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
They gave him a national
They gave
championship
him a
trophy
blank natty.
with just like a whole bunch of room to pencil in the years, coach.
Like the college football playoff?
Yeah, it's a replica.
How bad is that?
Damn, I didn't realize. I never heard that.
And
I gotta find a picture of this.
Then they had to settle for the cups for
That's right.
after the 7 overtime
70
games where they tried to
72.
kill Joe Burrow.
74-72.
That's right.
Got to win, coach.
Had the over.
Glenn West. I mean, I think there's a painting in
Yes, there is
painting in Jimbo's
of the
my
2-point
God.
conversion.
of the. That's right. Like the game time, the game winning score. All right, we're going to talk to Glenn West from 247 coming up here. We'll talk to him about the recruiting weekend. We'll also ask him about LSU-Florida, what the fallout is after last weekend of LSU Bama, and what it means in the recruiting world. Let us set that call up. We'll be right back with you here on the Jordy Culotta Show. Remember, daily we are brought to you by our friends over at Hughes Mechanical. Hughes Mechanical Contractor is online at hughesmechanical.net. Shout out to Travis Hughes and the crew over at Hughes Mechanical. You can dial them up at 225-658-2147. 225-658-2147, whether it's residential or commercial HVAC services that you need. Hughes Mechanical can help you today. 225-658-2147. Air-conditioned service that you can trust. Online at hughesmechanical.net. The most trusted and experienced professionals here in South Louisiana. Got offices from Baton Rouge to the North Shore. One in Covington that you can specifically get in touch with online. hughesmechanical.net. Hughes Mechanical Contractors, a proud supporter here of the Culotta Show. We'll be back with Glenn West talking LSU football versus Florida this weekend. Recruiting, what the sidelines are going to look like, who's going to be in town. LSU basketball tonight back at the Maravich Center versus Nichols. We'll go back and forth with the media 7-footer, Glenn West from 247 next.
Can he play D-line?
Get your hands up.
Bounce back, can't let you fold up. Keep pushing, can't let you slow up. Bounce back.
Red Stick Sports, a local staple in Baton Rouge to all sports fans, was founded back in 1981 and has remained a family business for over 40 years. Today, they still have the great selection on the floor, but they're also a leader in custom apparel for businesses, sports teams, and other groups. Take it from us, everybody over here at FM Digital Media. They help us out with all of our apparel. Let them help you out today. Go ask for Cody over at Red Stick Sports. Check him out online at redsticksports.biz.
The Jordy Culotta Show is brought to you by A-Bears Lawn Maintenance. Commercial or residential, A-Bears Lawn Maintenance is ready to work. A-Bears can tackle all your homeowners association requirements. Call Blake at 225-485-8022. A-Bears Lawn Maintenance.
In a wreck, Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys is ready to go to work for you. Come meet your team.
I'm your intake specialist. I coordinate your case and connect you with your attorney and paralegal.
That's us, your legal team.
Thanks.
And we'll fight to get you every dollar you deserve.
I'm your settlements and disbursement manager, and I'm here to get you paid on time.
I'm attorney Gordon McKernan. Put our team to work today. Just call us. Get it done.
Hey Tiger fans, when you're traveling through Natchez, Mississippi, make sure to visit Tom and Wright Granning at Go-Mart and On The Go Deli, where you can fill up your tank and your belly. Go-Mart has clean restrooms, community coffee, an awesome beer cave, and a great selection of anything you may need on your trip. Located at 4 Sergeant Prentice Drive as you're entering Natchez on the left. Also stop by Wardo's Po' Boys at 309 North Broadway on the beautiful Natchez Bluff, where the Po' Boys are so good you'll swear you're in Cajun country.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
All right, buddy. Make it a good shot.
Oh, yeah.
Sticking the roof in.
For a hole in your roof, or a whole new roof, go roof. Roof, roof, go roof.
Hey, Greg, the roof up?
Roof's up. Roof's up. Roof's up.
Roof's up?
Roof's up.
Roof's up! Beautiful roof every single time.
True. True.
Well, the Ochsner Andrews Sports Medicine Institute collaborative effort was an idea from Dr. Andrews and myself to bring together two great names, the Andrews name and the Ochsner name, to elevate the quality of care for athletes in the state of Louisiana, where he's from.
I always thought I would come back to Louisiana and practice orthopedics with my subspecialty being sports medicine. This was an opportunity through Ochsner's to come back and work the entire state to help develop and take sports medicine to a new level.
As an orthopedic surgeon, what this means in the future in terms of, access for our community to the type of care that Dr. Andrews pioneered, words can't describe how valuable that is.
Ochsner has a great opportunity here to really grow, and Dr. Burnham, of course, is the mainstay of making that happen. If you want to have first-class sports medicine care, check in with Dr. Burnham and his group, and you'll be more than impressed and pleased.
I'm Tom Granick with Gil Martin, Wardo's Po' Boys in Natchez, Mississippi. On behalf of the Granick family, we invite you to run, walk, or stroll in the second annual Rudolph Roll. Held on the beautiful Natchez Bluff, this holiday event will kick off at 8 a.m. on December 9th and will include a 10K, 5K, and 1 mile kids fun run. Along with the race, there will be live music, drinks, and of course, Po' Boys. We're looking forward to an even bigger party this year. For more information, please check out the link on Wardo's Facebook page or scan the QR code. Hope to see y'all there.
Can't let you fold up, keep pushing, can't let you slow up, bounce back, can't let you fold up, keep pushing, can't let you slow up, bounce back, can't let you fold up, keep pushing, can't let you slow up. They say that life's a marathon, man, shout out to Nip. They start to think you fall enough and they starting to...
And welcome back here, Jordy Culotta Show, as always, built by our friend over at RMB Builders. Shout out to Rhett and the crew over at RMB Builders, rmb-builders.com, and on Instagram at RMB Builders. All right, Big Glenn West from 247 covering LSU. Great follow on social media. Great to keep up with his work over at 247. You can catch him regularly here on the Culotta Show. Always look forward to catching up with the big fella. At Glenn West 21 is where you follow him on social media. G, good morning. How are you?
Hey guys, good morning. I guess I have a little bit of an inquiry. Last time, or maybe it was 2 times ago, I was on the show and I went back and I watched some of it. And I got called out for my background here. So I'm curious if you guys have any of that memorabilia you can send my way to kind of spice up my background a little bit, because I admit it's a little bland, but I can only work with so much.
I like the look, G. I mean, look, it's about
cool.
business. It's about the content with you, man. Look, we got to cover up. We got to play a lot of we're juggling over here, distracting people, keeping their.
You got two guys that are 5'7". You're good, man. You're good. Not a lot of background to work with. I mean, we got all of Glenn West in the shot.
G, what's the recruiting fallout from last weekend for LSU? What's an outcome like that due to recruiting for LSU football?
Yeah, I mean, I think kind of going into the game last week, we certainly wrote a lot about just the benefits of playing a game like that if you come out on the winning side. And I don't think that there's been a huge backlash of stuff that's happened in terms of their recruiting. I think that they're still in very good position with a lot of these guys that they're trying to turn over here in the 2024 class. They've still got a very strong class with 26 commits overall. The future still looks very bright. I mean, you guys have seen some of the news that's circled around Bryce Underwood this week. I mean, there's still plenty of buzz around recruiting at LSU right now. And so, it will be interesting to see just kind of how they close out this cycle. I think that there's a lot of names to continue monitoring here over the next several weeks before the early signing period. But, I don't think that there was a huge backlash in terms of guys that are turned off to the program just because you lose to Alabama on the road.
Glenn, tomorrow, do you expect Jayden Daniels to go?
I do. I mean, just listening to Brian Kelly last night, I mean, it sounds like that he's passed most of the concussion protocols. I think there's still a couple things that he's got to clear before they make that decision, but he was able to practice all day yesterday. He got all the reps, or a lot of the reps as the starter. So, from a preparation standpoint, Kelly didn't seem to think that the time that he missed this week in practice really affected him all that much in terms of his preparation for the game through film study and just kind of knowing what the game plan is going to be. So, maybe he didn't get as many live reps this week as he has in past weeks, but they expect him. They have confidence that he's ready to go. I think he's going to be feeling good to be ready to go, and they're going to kind of trust him a little bit on this as well. So, I think that it sounds like he's going to be ready and expect him to suit up tomorrow against the Gators.
His toughness is undervalued, right? I mean, it seems like a characteristic that we don't talk about much with him, but he's shown it off a couple of times throughout his senior season.
Oh, yeah. I mean, some of the hits he's taken this year, and albeit some of them are probably a little bit his fault because he's not sliding or whatever, but, it's just the Joe Burrow mentality, I guess, that he's kind of adopted here. But, he's done a really nice job. I think he's not only played at an elite level, a Heisman level this year, putting up numbers, leading the country in total offense in several statistical categories, but he's just done a really nice job, I think, of being a leader on this team. And he's not a guy that I don't think says a whole lot. I think he does it mostly through his actions. And, one way to show that you're a leader and that you're tough is by playing through injury, by playing through some nicks and bruises that you might pick up throughout the entirety of the season. But I think you're absolutely right. He is a very tough guy. He's very tough in terms of being able to bounce back up from some of the hits that he's taken this year, and some of them have been pretty brutal. So the fact that he's still standing here with 3 games left, he's going to be obviously full go here in the next couple games, an opportunity to really close out this season strong. I think that just shows you the mentality that he has, and just how much LSU really relies on him, and how much his players, or how much the players and the coaching staff respects him.
Glenn, defensively, when you see the troubles that LSU is continuing to go through, where does it start, and is there a remedy on this team this year that can make it uptick to be competitive for this offense?
Yeah, I mean, we talked with players earlier this week, and I thought it was a little alarming that Ovi Ogofu was one of the players that we talked to, and he says that the main issues have been consistent all season long, and that's been communication, whether it's communication from player to player, communication from player to coach. If it hasn't been fixed through 9-10 weeks of the season, I don't know that you can fix it. I mean, there just does seem to be a disconnect here, and a lot of that has to do with the new personnel that they've brought in. They've totally retooled this defense again this off season, and you've also had some unexpected absences that you weren't hoping to have, certainly in the secondary with what Greg Brooks is going through, but also losing all 4 of your transfer cornerbacks now at this point, have not played in a game in several weeks. So that's certainly, I think, put a little bit of a handcuff around this defensive staff. But there's Mekhi Wingo, who was obviously the biggest leader of all of these players, 18, and a guy that I think they really relied on as a voice and a powerful voice in that locker room. But I don't know how much of it you could fix now with 3 games to go. I mean, they've settled in on the kind of scheme they want to do, but I mean, for several weeks there, we were talking about what scheme they were going to be in from a week-to-week basis, because they were still trying to figure out roles, still trying to figure out which ways that guys could impact the game on a consistent basis. They still, you still see kind of some inconsistencies with guys like Harold Perkins, who was expected to have a big role. I mean, Mason Smith hadn't seemed like himself for most of the year since coming back from that ACL injury. So I think it's been a lot of things, but the part that really has concerned me the most is that there still seems to be some kind of lack in communication here when they're on the field, and in terms of what they're supposed to be doing. So that's going to be something that I know that Kelly and his staff are going to sit down after the season, going to evaluate everything. So we'll see what happens after the year, but it's certainly been a concerning to see that the defense has been kind of this far behind what's been a pretty historic offense.
Kelly mentioned that Logan Diggs could be out for Saturday night. What would that mean in the running back rotation? We've seen different guys kind of pop in and out. If Diggs is a no-go, who steps up?
Yeah, I think you'll see a healthy dose of Josh Williams. I personally would like to see some of the freshmen and get more involved. Caleb Jackson, Trey Holly. I mean, at this point in the season, yes, you're playing to win, but I think you're also playing to see what you have in the future. And I think both of those guys have shown, at least in recent weeks and certainly throughout the course of the season, that they can be effective in the run game. And so, a guy like Jackson, who's already played in so many games this year, doesn't really have the red shirt to worry about. I think Holly's only played in 1 or 2 games, so he's got a couple more games where he can still conserve his red shirt opportunity. So, I'd like to lean into the young guys. I think Josh Williams, though, would get a healthy dose of carries. I think you could probably throw Noah Kane out there as well and be kind of a trustworthy vet. But I would like to see, personally, some of the freshmen get a little bit more opportunities in the run game.
Were you surprised that Whit Weeks didn't get some run last week?
Yeah, I mean, I was. I mean, I think a lot of the media members have kind of been hammering this point all season long, but he's certainly showed the potential that he has when he's received the opportunities, when he's gotten out there. He's been able to create some havoc in the backfield, and he's certainly a really great athlete who can, I think, make tackles and be a really dominating force there in the second level. I think against a team like Florida too that likes to throw a lot of short and intermediate routes with Graham Mertz, I think he'd be a really good option to kind of throw out there this weekend if they find some kind of role that he can fill. But they also have been pretty consistent with the fact that they like the way that Omar Spates, the presence that Omar Spates gives them in the run game. Now, look, I mean, you could certainly rebuttal that to me, and I wouldn't argue at all that, they did not look very good in the run game against Florida State, against Alabama last weekend, of course, certainly against Ole Miss as well. When all those guys were out there, but it's again, I think with 3 games left here, I'd love to see some of these younger guys, these foundational pieces, especially on the defensive side of the ball that you're going to be leaning into for years to come. Nothing can help prepare them for this offseason more than some on-field reps and some experience there. So I would certainly like to see a little bit more Whit Weeks, and he's another one of those guys that's already kind of burned the red shirt opportunity. So why not just throw him out there and see if he can't get some more valuable reps?
Glenn West, LSU-Florida tomorrow inside Tiger Stadium. That'll be a 6:30 kickoff for LSU and the Gators. 247 will have all of your coverage. Glenn, how about Matt McMahon and the week he had, getting Robert Miller out of Houston and being able to get a guard out of Memphis and winning those recruiting battles late down the stretch? What do you see happening with the basketball program?
Yeah, I mean, the basketball recruiting right now is kind of extremely hot. And I think that the fact now that a lot of this NCAA investigation is a thing in the past, they've been able to really kind of lean into recruiting this particular class a lot stronger. They've been able to get out on the road a lot more and visit some of these players. And I've had a chance to talk with Rob. That made a big influence on him in terms of making his decision. He came down here several times with his family over the last 6-7 months. Really built a great relationship with McMahon and the staff over there. Ronnie Hamilton, Casey Long, these are all guys that are doing a fantastic job in terms of recruiting for LSU basketball right now. But yeah, you land Rob Miller, top 50, 55 player on 24/7 Sports right now. You also grab Curtis Givens, who's a top 5 point guard in this class as well. So McMahon has his point guard of the future. I mean, we've heard really for a long time now how McMahon is at developing some of these point guards. So I'm going to be really excited to see just what Givens is able to do and how he's able to develop. Was actually able to talk with Givens' head coach at IMG or at Montverde, Kevin Boyle, who's a legend in the high school game. Says he's one of the best point guards he's ever recruited here or ever recruited to Montverde, and he's had some pretty good ones like Kyrie Irving and some other NBA players that are there right now. So they really like. Obviously adding those 2 guys, there's still some more work that they're trying to do to land some more pieces to this 2024 haul. But this is certainly, I think, the start of what you kind of hope to be a foundational recruiting class for McMahon here in his second year with the Tigers.
LSU men's basketball tonight at home versus Nichols. That'll be inside the Maravich Center. Tip-off between the Colonels and Tigers, I believe 6:30 with LSU tonight. And that'll be kickoff tomorrow between the Florida Gators and LSU. Glenn West and 247 will have all that covered for you. You can follow him on Twitter at GlennWest21. G, have a great weekend. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, Jordy. Thanks, guys.
All right, man. There he is, Glenn, from the very docile set there.
It's simplified.
I think it kind of plays into his personality.
I think he lets the personality pop.
That's right.
You're getting good information from a very stoic man.
I don't know.
Very tall man.
Speaking a little bit of basketball earlier this week, one thing that we didn't cover, how about McNeese traveling on the road and beating VCU? Now, look, Will Wade's not on the sideline right now for the Cowboys, but
he's in the practice room.
That is a nice opening season win there for McNeese to kind of get the attention rolling and get people paying attention to what's happening down in Lake Charles. But tonight, LSU men's basketball back on the floor. They'll be playing against Nichols. As we said, a nice week for Matt McMahon and the crew as they were able to land a couple of nice recruits. Robert Miller, as we said, out of Houston. LSU was able to outlast Texas in that battle. And then they go into Memphis and take the guard, Curtis Givens, right out from under the nose of Anthony Hardaway and Memphis. So it was a nice week for McMahon and the Tigers, which I guess is Boot Up is back. Have they brought Boot Up back?
It's a great slogan.
It is. I mean, and I'm glad to see that if they're embracing that in fact they are, because it's a great fit I mean, like it's a great fit to a program that, I mean, it's an easy
to say.
Yeah, it just, I mean,
and it's so symbolic of the program.
I'm kind of seeing it back around, right?
Why not run it back?
Yeah.
And split jersey night for Cody Worsham. Wasn't he a Nichols?
Yes.
Guard.
He was.
So I'm sure he'll be fighting an internal battle.
Drawing a paycheck from LSU though.
Right, but I mean, your heart's,
Sure.
Home is where the heart is.
When you're feeding kids, though, you're.
Anyway, if he'd been scoring 20 a night at Nichols,
That's right.
It may be a different
If I
story.
meant that much to you.
Let him get one shot. A little breaking news here. Michigan, there's been a timetable set for Big Ten response to Michigan Jim Harbaugh. Update on punishment. The Big Ten is reportedly preparing a notice of disciplinary action against the Michigan Wolverines football program and head coach Jim Harbaugh ahead of the team's trip to Penn State on Friday. So it's coming down quickly and swiftly.
What do we
that
expect
punishment
here?
is, we have no clue. Harbaugh suspended indefinitely?
I would say a definite suspension. Most probably it would be indefinitely. The thing to see is going to be how Harbaugh reacts and how Michigan takes this, how they accept this penalty and punishment.
Do you think there's a difference between it coming from the NCAA and then coming from the Big Ten?
I think coming from the Big Ten would probably be
Hold
a little
more
bit
weight.
more fierce.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they're the one that has the check.
Right. That's actually that's who can hurt you.
Right. I mean, they can really, they can undercut you.
Yeah, because if it comes from the NCAA, you can drag this thing out, filibuster. Before you blink, it's 2024, 2025, and we took the banner down. Well, we were still in the college football playoff and maybe won a national championship, so come and get me. If the Big Ten is making this accusation, you kind of your hands are tied.
Right. And they got real power over you.
Right. That's your boss.
Right.
Your actual boss.
So, yeah, I mean, and I know that there's a lot of schools that are hounding the Big Ten, telling them to make an example out of Michigan. I mean, I think that they are tired of Harbaugh's ways. I mean, it is clear that Harbaugh weighs on people.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it is clear. I mean, everywhere he's been, going back to, like, even his days at, like, San Diego, was he at San Diego State? Is that where he was first before he went to Stanford? He was at, like, some small college in Southern California. I want to say it was San Diego. Yeah, where he started. Then he went to Stanford. And I know when he got to Stanford, like, people were just done with him at the end. Like, he had, like, a bathroom built in his coach's office, like, without notifying anybody on the campus. Like, I mean, it was like he was doing stuff that
that's what
people were
coaches
like,
get.
Jim, you got to go. Like, you got to get out of here, man. Like, because he was, at the time, you could sense, like, man, this dude's going to be a great coach.
Yeah.
I mean, even like, I believe it was San Diego.
It was San Diego the Toros.
Yeah, right, because it wasn't San Diego State.
No, it was San Diego. St. Diego.
And, like, they were,
San Diego.
A whale's vagina.
like, even then, like, you could tell, like, this guy Harbaugh
is different.
He's going to be for real. He's going to be for real. Like, Stanford jumped on him, made a great hire, and Stanford,
we don't want to be this good at football.
Stanford became really relevant, and then I think they were like, yeah, whoa, like, I don't, is the lemon worth the squeeze on this?
You want to send who, where, for what?
I don't think that we want to. We're academia.
Yeah. We got some people that are asking a lot of questions.
Yeah, this is not our game.
Harbaugh go to San Francisco to go win a Super Bowl,
and then he goes to the 49ers, and becomes really quickly a top 3-4 coach in the league. I mean, like, he got San Francisco back pretty quickly, and had a reputation of a really good coach. And you could sense even out in the Bay Area, like, people were like, this guy is too much. Yeah, I mean,
he's a football guy.
He is
the second family of football. John and Jim and their dad.
We're trying to graduate Silicon Valley people. We
and
are not trying to graduate football players.
I think he's just on the wrong coast. Like, if you put him in New York.
Yeah. No, I think he plays in, like, Philly.
Oh, yeah.
Like Chicago.
They've been clamoring for him.
I can't believe Chicago hasn't hired him. I mean, he's a former quarterback.
That would be perfect for, like, Justin Fields.
But you see, like, that's what Michigan was thinking.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I thought, like, when Michigan got it, was like, okay, well, he's going home.
Yeah.
They know him. And then, like, 2 years in, they were kind of like,
we don't know about this Harbaugh thing.
What about the Harbaugh deal?
Then he rattles off 2 straight against Ohio
Can
State.
you give him back? Right? Yeah, and then he starts to win. Well, he restructured his contract. He gave a lot of money back.
Yep. He was like,
Well, he had to pay Stallions.
Yeah, and I robbed y'all a little bit. At first, it was like highway robbery.
Right. I mean, it was a big
contract.
Couldn't beat Ohio State.
Well, I mean, I think it was next to Saban's, right?
Wait, was it when he first got to Michigan? Wasn't Herb still the coach at Ohio State?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, Herb had his number.
He never beat Herb.
Oh, it would have killed Herb.
Herb would have faked a heart attack.
He did.
First win.
Wait, was Harbaugh the coach in what? Was that 16 when Curtis Samuel runs it in overtime?
I don't know that for sure. Oh, well, I mean, probably so because I mean Harbaugh went to the Super Bowl with the 49ers in 13.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, that's when Urban Meyer went to his knees after the game.
On the sideline.
Yes. He saw him score and he just goes to his knees.
Is that when he brought back up the brain cyst?
He started having migraines again.
What's the deal, Herb? And he was like, well, I've been dealing with this brain cyst.
My back and my
He's
brain
like,
hurt.
Yeah? Or how about Harbaugh's recruiting methods? Is that what's getting you?
Ryan Day, are you ready?
That same disease Saban gave you?
I was about to croak. If he didn't score that, Urban Meyer would have died on the field. He would have faked his death on the field.
Go back to the Papa John's pizza in the golf cart. That's the saddest picture of all time. Like, have you never seen that?
No.
It's after the game that he lost, and he's sitting by himself.
He's sitting by
with the small, the
pizza on his
personal
lap.
pizzas that you could get at the games. He's looking at that slice of pizza, and he's just like, I'd rather just end it all. Like, this is a trick of the day, huh? Banana. Like, I got my slice of Papa John's pie, and I guess this is it for me. This is what happens when you lose. And
somebody's going to hire him.
Herb?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
Not the Jaguars.
No. Some college football team is going to hire him.
Can't go back to the Jags after everything that
He can't go back to the NFL.
Dude, what if Michigan hires him?
Yeah, I think, the NFL. Oh, God.
He would. He's such a sleaze.
No,
he would 1,000% take that job.
Absolutely take that job. He would 100% take that job.
Just to beat Ryan Day every year and be like.
Just the next challenge.
Mm-hmm.
Right. What else can I do?
It's a great university. University
I've always
of
loved Michigan.
He brings back, he wears the Ohio State vest on Michigan sidelines. The Jim Tressel look.
With the whistle.
He would 1,000 if there was one person on the planet that is so spineless.
It would not surprise me a bit if he took the Michigan job.
Harbaugh, it is a bear. I mean, it would make so much sense. Welcome to the future. Like Brian Kelly in the press conference, I could predict the first question. Jayden Daniels injury update, gotcha. Michael Cobble put that on Twitter. It's great. They cut it out of the presser I cut it from. Started a little late. But, I mean, if you get Herb to Michigan, that's college football at its finest.
Oh, it is.
I mean,
that's what makes it.
He still looked like he wanted to die on the sideline.
Oh, it would be the stress would be insurmountable.
It's like he loves coaching so much, but he will let it stress him to
No, Stewie, it's not the coaching. He doesn't love coaching.
He loves winning.
He loves attention.
Yes.
He loves the spotlight. He loves the power. That's what Les Miles was craving when he took the Kansas job. That's what these guys cannot give up. They cannot give up the power of the position, right? And it's the same thing that politicians deal with. Like, they get in there, they write their own rules. You know, they're like, term limits? Forget these term limits. We want to be doing this when we're 90 and we just freeze in front of cameras and we can still keep our job.
Mitch,
I mean, like,
are you okay?
Yeah, you're like, hey, Mitch.
You ready to go home?
Mitch.
You got to speak a little bit louder for the senator.
But get back there and keep writing those laws for the 25-year-old home buyers out there that you can relate to, Mitch. You know, by no means hand off the duties to somebody that would be a little bit more in touch.
Make it as hard as you can for those 25-year-olds to buy a home.
I mean,
do they want more taxes?
You know
or
the
less
power
taxes?
you have as the University of Florida's head football coach? You know the power that you have
run the state
as Ohio State's head football coach?
Run the state.
I mean,
you know the power you have as LSU's head coach?
Absolutely. The power that comes along with being LSU's head coach. I mean, there is just a part of it that they crave, and it's not
Can't leave it alone.
It's not the X's and the O's. It's not the
Jimmy's
the
in the
late
hose.
nights chasing recruits. I mean, Herb
late
showed
nights
you.
chasing something, but
Herb
yeah.
showed you what he's chasing late night.
Jimmy's in the hose.
at his own restaurant, right?
And then he showed you on Fox.
When he's knuckles deep. I mean, like,
This man was live on Fox chasing women.
That's right. On the boat?
No, it was
during the big noon kickoff.
during big noon kickoff. There's like a shot that it pans like
To
trying to
Herb,
show
and
the
he-
crowd, and it's Herb behind just dirty macking, dirty macking. I know he was
Whispered in the ear.
I know a dirty mac when I see one.
one. And Herb is
That's
the
right.
president of the university.
what's the good places to eat on campus? You think you can
Herb-
show me?
Herb's Chop House.
Herb, you've been here for 10 years.
I have a frequent visitors card to Herb's Chop House. It's actually my restaurant.
I mean, that's what it is, right? Like, I mean, they could give a damn about the football program,
But they know it has
You
to
know,
be
the-
good.
Yeah, they know it has to be great for them to get the power.
That's what was stressing Herb out. He's trying to do both.
You know, I mean,
got too much going on.
Les
we
got
don't
to
win-
Kansas, and they were like, "Yo, man, like early Doucette and Jamarcus ain't here.
Jamar ain't coming.
Like, what you gonna
Well,
do,
then I can't
man?
win.
Yeah, like well, Frank Wilson's not gonna show up. So what now? And he's like, I don't know. Let me just keep interviewing the interns.
Come to my office.
I'll grab a few Louisiana kids for y'all.
Was it Jeff Long that hired him?
Yes, his best
His
friend.
best friend. I mean, Les must be a hell of a guy.
The homies.
No, he's not.
No, I'm talking about with the boys. He
probably.
Get Cam Cameron, you get a job. Jeff Long, hey, I need some help. You get a job. Like, he's always around the guys. Until
No,
he's
that's what
not.
did. Yeah, I mean, yeah, he opened up his press conference when he introduced Cam Cameron. He told the room, he was like, "We were at each other's wedding." Everybody's like, "Sweet,
Cool, bro. Can he call plays?
What about the offense?"
What about what he just did at Baltimore where he sullied the entire franchise?
He did. They ran him off and went to the Super Bowl.
Yep.
Yeah, they had players. And then they got a Harbaugh. They got John.
Yeah.
Do you think that was a good
Well,
hire?
no. They had John.
Oh, yeah, he was the OC.
Yeah, Cam was the OC, and they fired him like not mid-season. They fired him
Like
the
week
week
two.
before the week before the playoffs.
Yeah, Cam,
And
pack up for us.
who'd they give the play calling? Golly, man, I forget who it was, but they went to the Super Bowl and
Was this
won the thing.
2012?
2013.
2013.
They played. He played his brother. He played Jim
Yeah, I remember that. In the dome.
in the dome.
Lights
The
went
power
out.
Yeah,
went out.
Beyonce. She shut the power out.
Hey, sorry.
Halftime show. She blew the breaker on vets, like the breaker that runs the dome.
Mm-hmm.
The thing like exploded during the halftime.
Jim
show.
Caldwell.
Jim Caldwell. That's right.
Mm.
Former Indianapolis Colts coach.
Oh, the original robot.
That's right.
Nobody could get a word out of him. And he was good. He was a
He
good
was
coach.
good.
They were just like, we don't have enough personality.
Took him to the Super Bowl. I
Well.
mean, that's who the Saints beat.
Mm-hmm.
When the Saints beat the Colts, Caldwell was the head coach. It wasn't Tony Dungy. All right, hour 2 coming up. We're going to talk to Jake Crane in about 15 minutes. The weekend in college football, it's not bad.
Got Georgia Ole Miss.
Not bad, yeah. Georgia Ole Miss is the one, right?
Yeah, that's
I mean,
the
that's
one
kind of
seed.
Well,
the game.
Michigan, Penn State.
Michigan, dude, I'm not doing Penn State's terrible.
Yeah, I hate watching Penn State
I can't
play.
watch Penn State play.
No, they have players. I'm not
They
gonna
got
lie,
dudes,
they do.
but
it's
they are
just
so boring to watch offensively.
Throw it deep.
And, like, that's one of those defenses that they're like, best in the country, best in the country. Come play LSU's offense. Like, I would love to see that defense, that style of defense match up against this LSU
don't think
offense.
they can.
Can't run with
it
them.
would be tough.
They can't run with they can't keep up with LSU.
No.
I don't
they
think
can't
anybody
cover
can.
them. Nobody can. I mean, it just... I can't. I think Penn State's a fraud.
They've always been a fraud.
I think James Franklin's a fraud.
Same.
I think Penn State's a fraud.
Just throw it deep.
Anytime you say they're in a big game, it never amounts to anything. Nothing ever comes out of it. It's not even like they win. They don't even keep them close.
Oh, no, they get blown.
They get
Doors get blown
out.
When they lose, it's a blowout.
I mean,
James Franklin is 3-16 versus AP top 10 opponents.
Gross.
2-7 when it's ranked in the top 10 itself, and it goes even deeper than that. Penn State has just 6 wins against top 10 teams in the 21st century. 1-6 versus top 10 Michigan teams.
Disgusting.
Don't overthink it.
USC, Oregon, nice matchup on paper.
Yep.
I tell you, an 11 a.m. game I'm going to be paying attention to and just kind of peeking at. Not that I'm going to sit there and watch every play.
That's the only football you're going to get.
Georgia Tech and Clemson. I want to find out if Clemson is
Tyler.
If that last weekend is really who they are, if that was just a response. Because you got to watch Georgia Tech, man.
Yeah.
Haynes King.
They are a sneaky, good, like crawl up on you. Next thing you know, you're in the fourth quarter fighting for your life, trying to keep them out of the win column. And they've upset more than they've fallen this season. They are a scary matchup on paper. Like, and for Clemson,
That's Miami.
This might be just what they need. They may need to go out and beat a team like this that everybody has some respect for and people are watching out for. And
Gain
if
a little more
Clemson's
respect.
Clemson, you should beat them. I would say Tennessee, Missouri.
Yeah, it's a sneaky one. I think
is a good one as well.
Missouri has the opportunity to blow the doors off Tennessee.
That would be a nice story.
Luther Burden might be out.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, if he's
I think he's got like an ankle.
Are they? They only have the one loss, right? Or they have two losses.
Two.
This could be. Might have been the last you've seen of old Luther Burden, or is he a sophomore?
Junior.
Yeah, he's.
Wait.
I think
he's a sophomore.
Yeah, he is because he
Okay.
was a freshman last year.
Yeah.
He's a true sophomore.
True sophomore. Yep.
Damn.
See,
he was like the first 5-star Missouri ever got.
No.
They got the.
Dorial Green Beckham.
Yeah, Dorian Green Beckham.
DGB.
But he was like, he might be the highest rated that they've ever gotten.
Since Dorial Green Beckham. LSU was in the running for that for far too long.
Yeah, they were.
DBG.
This is when I was in my recruiting grind mode. Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
That recruiting pack.
Texas TCU this weekend on the slate. Mississippi State, Texas A&M on the docket this weekend. Auburn and Arkansas in the league as well. So some pretty good games. Utah, Washington will be one that should be intriguing.
Where is it at?
That one is, let's see here. Utah is traveling to Seattle. They're traveling to Husky Stadium.
Strange place to play.
Interesting for Washington. They were flailing in the wind there for a little bit. They keep winning, but Washington has been not playing their best football.
Sputtering.
Yeah, and Utah is.
They're finding it.
Yeah, I mean
they got blowed out last week.
Yeah,
but,
they got beat pretty bad.
But they're spicy.
They are. You just got a defense. You would think. I mean, at some point, their defense could click, and that could be the difference.
Because you want Washington to take one on the chin at some point.
Yeah.
Because the Heisman could come down to Washington, Oregon, in the Pac-12 championship, where that's going to get built up so much, and LSU's on the sidelines.
Miami at Florida State, 2:30 on Saturday. Growing up, this was the game.
Yep.
Like that was like must-watch television. What's happened to that game is kind of sad to see what's happened in college football, but that is, at least on the eyes, that's one that can take you back. I mean, that is, I can remember Florida State, Miami Saturdays as a kid growing up. I mean, that was LSU Bama.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Like that was the LSU Bama game for my generation of kids growing up. I mean, that was, and it was always played at like 2:30 in the day. I mean, it was always a daytime game, and they would always like meet up at the 50-yard line pregame, and they'd have like some real like hard hitting killers in the middle of the field, like going at each other. I mean, it was like, look at this, man. This is about to be a war. And I mean, some of the names that would come through those matchups in between, like 1990 and 2002 were just, you look at the NFL Hall of Fame.
I remember
NFL Sunday Fields. I mean, that was the game.
I remember a 2:30 kick, and we were at pastime, and it was the Sean Taylor versus Florida State. Remember that game in the rain?
When he knocked that man out?
And I viscerally remember watching it on that big ass clunky big screen at pastime, going, "Oh my!" He just caught a body.
Yeah,
and that was like, that's football. I was like,
I remember
this.
watching the wide rights. Like happen.
Damn.
I mean, those were some of the great games of college football history. I mean, think back on some of the great matchups that college football has seen and gone through. I mean, Miami, Florida State, it'd take you, be pretty quick to get to that spot.
Anybody been watching Florida State?
A little bit.
They are not very good without
Keon Coleman.
Yeah.
Well, both of them were out last week.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And they are not good without them two. Like Trey Benson, take us home every time.
Yeah, he fell out the Heisman conversation. The quarterback.
Yeah, because he shouldn't have been in it.
Right. Keon Coleman maybe should have.
Yeah, if anybody.
And they don't trust it for the Miami-Florida State game. I'm just getting this secondhand from Levitard, but Tyler Van Dyke is a thorn in their side for the Miami fan base. I think he had like back-to-back 400-yard games to start the year, and now he's struggling.
Yeah, I don't get the love on him.
Well, he started off so hot. He came in as a transfer, and then it's like, maybe he's good, and then he just fell off the wagon after the Georgia Tech game, and he hasn't bounced back. Shout out Cordell.
All right, we're going to talk to Jake Crane about the college football weekend coming up here. As we said, laid out a couple of games for you. We'll get back to focusing on LSU and Florida as well. Shea's going to be through here at 8:30 this morning. So we will ask him some of the recruiting emphasis coming up this weekend in Tiger Stadium. It sounds real good on the stuff on Bryce Underwood. Yeah. This Bryce Underwood, I don't know how it couldn't be if you're Underwood.
Yeah, and with the Michigan stuff, if that comes out this week, it's in his hands to come to LSU.
I mean, so he's going to announce on January 6th. He is gone through the process. He's made his finalists. LSU is one of the finalists. LSU's done a great job with Joe Sloan, Brian Kelly, Frank Wilson, the entire offensive staff have done a fantastic job of recruiting. But if you're Underwood, you got to kind of look around, right? And LSU has racked up some of the top players at every position that matters if you're a quarterback. I mean, they've gotten some of the top offensive linemen in the country. They just flipped a 5-star from Texas A&M last week. What is it, Weston Banks?
Weston Davis.
The 5-star that they flipped from Texas A&M last week. They've got Callaway, the 4-star offensive tackle from the East Coast out of North Carolina. Got a couple of local guys on the offensive line. DK Moore's the number 1 wide receiver in the country that's in that cycle.
He might be the number 1 player coming.
He could be the number 1 player. You look at the 2 running backs that are on the board. Harlan Berry is going to be the number 1 running back in the country out of New Orleans next season. LSU sitting in a great spot to get the commitment out of Harlan Berry. Simon, the talented running back in North Louisiana, who's going to be a top 10 prospect at his position, is really trending, and it feels like LSU's doing a good job of building a relationship with him. I mean, I don't anticipate Frank Wilson missing running backs out of the state for as long as he's here. I mean, I would feel pretty secure on running backs.
And you need cornerback help. The number 5 cornerback in the country is in New Iberia, Louisiana right now. Jabari Antoine.
At Westgate?
Mm-hmm.
Westgate,
you have an offer?
Westgate makes me nervous.
Yeah. But it's been Alabama. It's been A&M.
Texas.
Texas
has got good relationships down there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they've done a really good job but they've got good inroads down there in recruiting. I mean, you still have to get it. You still have to. It's still about relationships. It's still about going out there and forming the relationships and being able to pick up the phone and get on the kind of get where everybody stands. And it still has to be done that way.
Stuart, this is kind of on you. Isn't that your territory?
I don't recruit for LSU. So.
You could. Everybody needs a bag man.
I cannot, obviously.
I mean, they should. Those are the types of areas.
Start making the trip
where you got to have built-in bagmen.
Mm-hmm.
Those are one call areas.
Yeah,
that's just the realism.
All you got to do is know somebody down there,
right? There has to be a web and a network where you've got one heavy hitter in just about every area code. Right? You think about the state as far as area codes go. Whether you're in the 337, the 318, 225, 504, wherever 985, whatever zip code you're in, You need one or two heavy hitters depending on how big the area is. So when things happen and people are on the board like that, that's taken care of. And I mean, that's kind of the behind the curtain on how recruiting used to work, but it still has that part to it. There's still that
down home feel,
that under the table aspect of recruiting that you have to be able to still deal with. I mean, especially on some high end recruits.
Yeah, Derek Williams one hurts he's
a killer, man. Jacoby Matthews is a killer.
Jacoby Matthews and
plays.
Both of them, that is two that you just never let leave the state. I don't care what you have to
exactly.
do.
Who was what school had the guy?
It's the defensive end from Duncanville, what Texas did to him.
Yeah,
you're
from here.
The kid's like, I want to go to LSU. He's like, okay, well, you're not. You know what I mean?
How about this new Tesla?
Here's a Tesla. Here's a job for your mom. Here's a $500,000 recruiting signing bonus. I mean, here's a job for you that's going to pay you. You don't have to go to class. We'll make sure somebody goes to class for you. I mean,
and you're home.
You're not going anywhere but Texas.
I got 500,000 reasons why you shouldn't go to.
And then I got 500,000 more if you say no to that. You're not going.
Yeah.
I mean,
this decision's been made for you.
That's how it has to.
Who cried on signing day that when he didn't commit to LSU?
The cornerback.
Desmond Ricks.
Desmond Ricks.
And he almost said
he did
LSU.
say
LSU. I mean,
Isaiah Buggs, the guy that Alabama brought back for the Legends weekend on Saturday night as LSU's in the building. I mean, he was telling people around him as he's committing to Alabama, I should be at LSU. I'm supposed to be at LSU.
Go Tigers.
Got to go to LSU. I'm supposed to be at LSU. Why didn't you? I can't.
Can't go to LSU, man.
What do you need to do? I can't turn down this money.
Who was the haircut guy? The barber. Where was he?
Oh, that's Amy.
The barber was in Amite.
That's the dude that cuts Devontae Smith.
They had the eye doctor up in Monroe. Part of the
that's what I'm talking about.
Part of the Elephant Club.
That's what you got to do.
You got to have a guy. You got to have a guy in every zip code.
See, I could have been the guy in the 337, but they don't.
We got Jake.
Yeah, we got Jake. No love.
All right, let's go to let's
337 kid.
Go to the phone lines here. Southern Regional Medical Center phone lines, of course, bringing you our show every single day. And hook up with Jake Crane. Of course, we talk to Crane every Friday here and kind of recap and look forward to the weekend ahead here. Jake, good morning. How are you?
Man, I'm doing great. Of course, Bama's got an eye doctor in Monroe.
Hell yeah.
They got guys everywhere.
That's
It's like the KGB.
That's exactly what it's compared to. You got to have one in every area that matters.
Mother Russia.
All right, Jake, real quick. They had some breaking news coming out that the Big Ten is going to announce punishment on this Harbaugh deal. Does that surprise you, and what do you anticipate here?
Yeah, I mean, it surprised me that something's happening right now. The week of the game. I thought the playoff committee handled it the best. They said it's an NCAA issue. This isn't a college football playoff committee issue. I'm having a hard time. And the further you dig into this thing, you realize that everybody's guilty. It's like back in the day when people be like, "Oh, well, at least my team doesn't pay recruits." Yes, they do. You're just not the
paying
best
enough.
Yeah, it's like everybody does this. My thing is, at the end of the day, because we used to steal signs off wide film that we'd get. We used to steal them in game. If the end result is that I have your signals, right? Then what does it matter how I get them? That's been going on for years. I mean, you have teams that use the knowledge that their signs have been stolen against the other team, like TCU did against Michigan last year. I think that this is a lot about the NCAA and then a young commissioner and Tony Petitti feeling like they have to do something but not doing something too damaging. I mean, they're either going to fine Harbaugh or they'll suspend him a couple games or both. And at the end of the day, it's somewhat ridiculous to me because everybody does it. We did it when I was in the Sun Belt. This is just so overblown, and it just seems so petty to me. It's so high schoolish. Stop trying to make fetch a thing.
Right. I agree. This is a dog and pony show. What do you make of the week?
I'll say this, Jordy. I'll say this though. The longer this goes on and the more I find out, the more I have respect for Michigan. Turns out you guys are as dirty as we all are. You remember when everybody used to make fun of the SEC? Oh, it just means more. It's all you care about. Well, turns out deep down, it's all you care about.
I mean, it is a very disgusting scheme when you talk. I mean, that it feels very SEC in the 80s.
God, deny, man.
I am not a crook.
Fire him, though. What's this weekend look like for you from your standpoint?
Oh, golly. Hopefully you're in the green again from a betting standpoint. I tell you what, man, it seems like every weekend we get some great matchups. I'm really interested in this Ole Miss Georgia game.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like it's not going to rain. Like the chances of rain isn't nearly as high. I think this Ole Miss team's built a little bit different. I know it was a track meet with LSU, but it seems like every game's a track meet with LSU because that's just how it turns out. But I think this Ole Miss team's a little more physical than what people are giving them credit for. They're not elite on defense. They're very opportunistic. They're top 10 in sacks. Offensively, they don't turn the ball over. And if you see what's given Georgia trouble in the run game when Georgia's on defense, it's quarterbacks and teams that can hurt you laterally and vertically in the run game, right? Kentucky was a true gap scheme, box run team. Devin Leary's not super mobile. But then you look at the quarterbacks who've been able to move in the run game and use that RPO. They've given Georgia some problems. But in the second half of games, Ole Miss has kind of wilted. Georgia's really been able to finish teams. I think Georgia finds a way, but I do like Ole Miss to cover. You know, the games I find the most interesting are kind of the ones on the periphery, maybe the ones that aren't as black and white as some of these others. I think Washington's going to run by Utah. I don't think Utah can score enough offensively, and Washington's physical enough on defense. But, the Auburn-Arkansas, right? That game's interesting. Rutgers and Iowa, 28.5. The over-under is 28.5. If it was 8.5, I'd probably take the under. But no, man, there's a lot of interesting slates. Florida, LSU. Why would I not take the over, especially now that Jayden Daniels is probable? But all across the country, man, Michigan, Penn State, another game that I feel like we're going to see the same movie that we've seen with Penn State. Not a lot of offense. Try and let the other team make a mistake. I think Michigan finds a way.
Another one in the league that I'll be paying attention to is Tennessee at Missouri this weekend. What do you make of the Volunteers traveling over to Como and the position that Drinkowitz and his crew are in?
Well, Luther Burden's health is a big deal. We've seen Missouri win games, and including at Kentucky, when he wasn't really going off, even using him as a decoy. I'm still waiting with Joe Milton. There's always a couple games a year where he struggles, not only from an inaccuracy standpoint, but from a turnover standpoint. I think that's this game, man. I think Missouri finds a way to score on special teams. I think this is a true team that Drinkwitz has. It's not just Luther Burden. You see what Weiss Jr.'s doing. You see what they're able to do in the run game with two capable backs, including Cody Schrader, which I know LSU fans know all about. My only question is, when you have a bad pass defense in Missouri and a inconsistent pass offense, in my opinion, in Tennessee, which one first? I'll say the team on the road. I like Missouri to win this game.
Another big one that jumps out this weekend as far as the slate is concerned, Jake, from a 11 o'clock window is Georgia Tech at Clemson. And I think that Clemson last week's win over Notre Dame was huge. Obviously, all of the scrutiny that Dabo was experiencing last week, but are you for real, or was that just a 1 week thing? I think we can find out Saturday, because Georgia Tech has been a tough out, man. What do you make of this one?
Man, I don't think enough people are talking about the job Brent Key's done at Georgia Tech this year. A lot of people are obviously talking about what Mike Elko's done at Duke and what Leipold's doing at Kansas. Brent Key, what they've been able to accomplish, thanks to, a little bit of assist to Mario Cristobal not knowing when to take a knee. But look, I'm wondering when Tyler from Spartanburg's calling in again this week for Clemson. I feel like that man should get at least 5% of Dabo's game check for him kind of rallying the troops. Clemson's been so inconsistent. When people have left them for dead, whether it was after they lost to Florida State, then went on the road to Syracuse and played really well. Then you see what happened last week, obviously them being able to bounce back. I think this game, I like Georgia Tech to cover the 14.5. I think Cade Klubnik goes off in this one. I think we're going to start to slowly see the emergence of Cade Klubnik, getting them some momentum going into next year. I think Clemson at home, as long as Dabo doesn't fall down when he's running down that hill looking goofy as hell, I think Clemson wins it.
I've heard some arguments that people believe Oregon is the best team in the country. They play USC on Saturday night. Do you believe that? And what spot is Oregon in this Saturday at the Coliseum?
I think Oregon's going to end up winning out and beating Washington in the Pac-12 championship if Dan Lanning just doesn't pick like the most drastic option every single time or like the riskiest. He's the guy who hits on 17 when the dealer's showing a 6. You know, I think Oregon's top 5. I think Michigan's the best team in the country. My only qualm is it's hard for me to sit here and say Oregon is the best team in the country, knowing what they have from a returning standpoint when they haven't really beaten anybody of significance. And the one big game they've had this year, I'm not saying they played all bad teams. They lost to Washington on the road, even though it's a game I think they should have won. I think they're good enough to win the national championship. I think Bo Nix is good enough to win the Heisman, but I think it's a little bit premature, a little bit putting the cart before the horse when they haven't really beaten anybody of significance.
Jake, LSU-Florida, the local game here. What did you make of LSU's performance last Saturday night, and what do you anticipate this weekend after a loss to Bama?
Well, that game against Bama was going exactly like how we thought it was going to go. I think it was sad, not only for LSU fans, but for college football fans that Jayden Daniels wasn't able to finish the game, because I think we were heading toward an Alabama-Tennessee 2022 type finish in that game. I really believe that. It was up and down. It was back and forth. It was fascinating. You're watching great players play, quarterbacks that are able to keep the play alive outside the pocket. I think we got robbed of a great finish as college football fans, regardless of who won. Then this week, I just don't trust Florida, man, especially with Jayden Daniels playing. Florida's been Jekyll and Hyde on the road. Graham Mertz, I think, has been a great story, but outside of that, that loss to Arkansas was a bad one for Billy. Great for Sam Pittman. Is it going to be great for Arkansas in the long run? I don't know. I think LSU is just too much for Florida. I actually think the defense shows up and plays decently well this weekend.
And Bama. What now for Bama after that win?
I think they're going to start tailoring the game to Jalen Milroe's strengths. The play calls to Jalen Milroe's strengths, which is the scariest thing that could happen to the rest of the college football realm. Look, Kentucky's a good story, but so is Hansel and Gretel and Little Red Riding Hood, and we know how that ended. They're a box run team with a quarterback that's not mobile. That is not a good recipe against Georgia. It's not a good recipe against Bama. And I think Bama's kind of, found an infinity stone a little bit with Tommy Rees and the new game plan and play calling with Jalen Milroe. So give me Bama to cover.
Jake, have a great weekend.
Real quick before you go.
Hey, you guys as well.
Before you go. Sorry.
Go ahead.
Real quick. Put your coaching hat back on. Why didn't LSU just spy Jalen Milroe? Were you screaming at the television as a former coach going, what are you doing?
You said why didn't they?
Right.
Well, I mean, look, I think you got to do multiple things. The same reason why people at the end of the Florida State game said, why did you just spy Jordan Travis the whole time and not bring Harold Perkins? It's not one thing.
Okay.
Like this, it's not a game of absolutes. It's not, if we just do this one thing throughout the whole game, we'll win it. You've got to mix it up. I think LSU didn't, the 2 times they've screwed this up, once against Florida State, they did too much spying. Then against Alabama, they didn't do enough. You've got to show different things, show the same thing with different outcomes. Show the same things with a similar outcomes. Show that you're bluffing, then not bluff. Show that you're bluffing, then bluff. You've got to mix it up. It's not one thing. That's been LSU's problem.
Good answer. Thank you.
Have a great weekend, buddy. Good to see you.
Hey, y'all be good, as usual. Appreciate it.
All right, man. There he is, Jake Crane checking in. Remember, our conversation and show brought to you daily by Go Roof, online, GEAUXroof.com. A beautiful roof every single time. Roof's up with our friends over at Go Roof. Call them, 225-927-8300 to get a 2-year free workmanship guarantee with all new roof installations. That is on roof, commercial roofing, residential roofing, and roofing repairs. When you choose Go Roof, you get that free quote that's available to you. You got the staff that'll jump up on the roof, diagnose problems that you may have. Work with the insurance company, take that out, that part of the process out for you, that headache. Get in touch with Go Roof, online, GEAUXroof.com, GEAUXroof.com. A beautiful roof every single time. Shea Dixon, when we come back here on the Jordy Culotta Show, as always, built by our friends over at R&B Builders.
Can't let you fold up, keep pushing, can't let you slow up, bounce back, can't let you fold up, keep pushing, can't let you slow up, bounce back.
If you're in the market for a mortgage lender, you need to start with Doug Bickley and his team. Bickley has built a crew with over 50 years of combined lending experience. They've been in business for over 20 years, and they love helping their clients achieve the American dream of home ownership. They're also key with working in real estate agents and helping their clients getting same-day pre-approval. They average about 1 buyer a day getting them in a home. If you want to get in touch with Doug and his crew, it's easy. Call them 225-214-5154. 225-214-5154. Go see the Bickley team today. They're located on the corner of Coursey Boulevard and Sherwood Forest right here in Baton Rouge.
What's up?
What's happening?
Chilling with a couple of cool guys. You?
Chilling and watching some tube. Hold on. Did you do it? Hold on. Did you do it?
Roof's up.
Hold on. Roof's up? Roof's up!
Roof's up!
Hold on. Hold on. Hold on.
Beautiful roof every single time.
True. True.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
You can't put the cart before the horse. That'd be like, will you marry me?
Do I know you?
Never sign a contract with a roofer before he gets on your roof. Call Go Roof instead. We offer a free, no-obligation inspection. A beautiful roof every shingle time. Bobby, goes in the front.
Roof, roof, Go Roof.
Belmont Stakes Race Training.
I'm sticking to roofing.
Roof, roof, Go Roof.
Kentucky Derby Training. I'm sticking to roofing.
Roof, roof, Go Roof.
Head health is incredibly important for our student athletes. One of the best ways we're trying to address concussions is on the front end. We're trying to prevent these before they happen. And a big part of that is speaking to the athletes, letting them know what to expect. Okay, speaking to the parents, what to look out for, talking to the coaches so they know the vital importance. Some of the big things we're looking for with the concussion, which is, a traumatic brain injury, is one, was there a mechanism? Was there an injury that took place that could lead to this? Often a direct blow to the head, a head-to-head hit. If someone's showing signs of concussion, our first step is always to remove them from activity, get them to a place where there's less stimuli, where we can really just sit down and get a feel for the athlete, what they're feeling. We're looking for headache, we're looking for dizziness, any sign that coordination is off, that something's just not right. Get a good evaluation of them to understand what's going on. It's not worth the risk that may be there to kind of ignore it, because there are very serious consequences if we don't treat a concussion properly.
Don't let concerns about shifts in the market disrupt your long-term financial goals. Edward Jones financial advisor Daniel Newman can help. He'll work with you on an investment strategy for long-term results. Edward Jones can give you the tools and knowledge for a steady approach to hitting your financial targets. Get started today by calling Daniel Newman at 225-261-8262. 225-261-8262. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Malik Neighbors, a wide receiver.
Favorite pregame meal?
Popeyes.
What would winning a national championship mean to you?
It would mean a lot to me because, we seen a lot of the greats come through here, won their national championship, got, remembered for life.
If you could have one superpower, what would it be?
Probably fly. That or telekinesis.
What's the best piece of advice that you've ever received?
Do it wrong, do it long, do it right, do it light. Kyra Lacey, wide receiver, number 2.
Do you have any nicknames?
K2.
What's the best piece of advice that you've ever been given?
Stay humble.
If you could have one superpower, what would it be?
Fly. I be flying in my dreams.
What's been the highlight of your partnership with us?
The bike giveaway was one of the best things. I was pretty excited about that one. Texas A&M, I just got a point to prove because last year I dropped 2 balls I should have caught. I'm coming for them for real.
That's it. Thank you, man.
My name is Harold Perkins, and I play linebacker.
What's your favorite pre-game meal or snack?
Pasta with a little steak, something that's not too heavy.
Any superstitions or pre-game rituals?
I pray a lot. Just be me and God before the game. Perky worky. I like when they call me the percolator. I like that.
If anyone gets in a wreck, who should they call?
Gore.
Where were you born at, Greg?
Hattiesburg, Mississippi. But I claim 5 food because I was raised there my whole life. Favorite type of food is spaghetti. But you need to try spaghetti with some corn on the side. Funniest person I'd probably get Kyron Lacey. He be having me joked out every time I talk to him.
Who's the most athletic?
You know, besides myself, Perk or Malik. Future yourself, just take one day at a time, one step at a time. If you're doing something, just be where your feet are. Make sure you give 100% effort.
What is something on your bucket list?
Win a Super Bowl. That's definitely on my bucket list.
If you could have one superpower, what would it be?
Time traveling.
Who's the fastest on the team?
Like in a short span, I would say quick trigger, I'm taking Perk. One thing most people don't know about me, probably that I moved 12 times growing up, 12 different states.
Who's the most savage on the team?
Mason Smith. Mason Smith, definitely.
And who gets it done?
Gordon.
Thank you, man. That's great.
Emory Jones, right tackle.
What's the best piece of advice you've ever received?
Got it from my mom, and she just told me, always keep your head on the swivel.
Favorite subject?
Math, easy. I kind of keep it light. Give me some type of red beans or something like that. Throw a little cornbread on the side.
Light with red beans.
Yeah, just a little bit. I am superstitious. I got some PSDs that's purple and yellow and white. I wear them every game. I feel like they my lucky draws, and you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna keep doing it.
As primary care sports physicians, the things we think about the most with our athletes from a medical standpoint usually involves the head, the climate, and the heart. We have to be very careful about participating in sports when it is safe, but also having the proper equipment to take care of them if we are worried about the athletes. So here in Louisiana, obviously heat can be a big problem. Things that I think about as a primary care sports medicine physician is that it's safe enough for our athletes to participate. And there are certain regulations that we follow here at Ochsner, but throughout the entire state, to make sure it is safe for our athletes to participate. When we think about concussion, we have to really recognize those symptoms from the forefront, and that becomes a cultural issue as well. As for the heart, screening exams are by far the most important thing that we can think about. We go through a series of questions, but also listen to the athlete's heart and ask about family history and other symptoms they may have had in the past. By doing so, we can identify and potentially screen out athletes to make sure that they are safe to participate in the sports that they love to do.
Welcome back, Jordy Culotta Show Friday edition here live from our Click Here Digital studios. Remember our friends and our team over here at Click Here Digital get you set up on full service digital marketing plans from Google ads to social media ads. Anything digital that you need promoted, Click Here can help you out today. Online, clickheredigital.com, and you can email me directly if you want to contact Jordy at clickheredigital.com. Been a couple of weeks since we linked up with our guy, Shea Dixon, as LSU back in Tiger Stadium here for a Saturday, which means recruiting will be back up and moving tomorrow. To give us the latest on it is our guy from On 3, one of our favorites over there. Make sure you're checking out the podcast from the Bengal Tiger for their post game, which is a must listen. I listened to it on the way back from Tuscaloosa, which was an easy, made the ride a little easier on the way home. Shea, good morning. How are you?
Doing well. How are you?
Doing good, buddy.
I'm one of your favorites from the Bengal Tiger. Who
That's
are your
right.
others? Billy?
Yeah, Billy. Sam.
Matty B?
I haven't really met Matt.
Really? You'd love him.
I can tell I would, just listening on the podcast.
But he runs the Red Storm courts. You should see him.
That's right. I mean, I know that. Like, that's where I know him, but like from the media, yeah, right.
Media world.
Like, I know Mic'd Up has him on a lot, and he does.
You can catch him in the...
We've had him on. We have him in Coons on.
Yeah.
Catch him in the gully underworld of the AAU basketball circuit around
the
here.
dirty underbelly.
Sticky, yeah. it's a grimy, slimy spot.
Perfect spot for Jim Harbaugh.
Feels like recruiting. Yeah.
What if I found out Matty B is the Connor Stallions of the local AAU?
Now you got your brain turning. You hadn't seen his fake ID, his
goatee.
All right, so Shea, back up and moving here in Tiger Stadium. What's that mean for recruiting?
Yeah, it means 3 straight home games is 3 straight weekends you can host kids, but obviously this weekend and then A&M will be the really, really big weekend to cap things off. And obviously they're recruiting a lot of A&M players right now. They've already flipped 1 5-star A&M commitment in Weston Davis, an offensive tackle. Brad Davis keeps doing work. Boy, is he impressive on the recruiting trail. And everyone who's pitching in on O-line is obviously getting it done. They've had back-to-back-to-back classes now that I like. But this weekend will be nice. They'll have 1 official visitor, Devon Keys. He's already committed, a linebacker. But Alito's 10-0. They played last night. I would guess they won, but
can't get a bye.
I guess they're not. Maybe or they already had a bye. I don't know. They played.
Texas doesn't do the bye thing.
They played on a Thursday night, so now he's got a full free weekend. So he's going to go ahead and use it on his official. But other than that, a lot of underclassmen. I'd say the A&M game is more for that final push of guys in this current class, but Harlem Berry, James Simon, all those guys. Your boy Keelan Moses, who's got his decision coming up at the end of the month. A couple of out-of-state kids. So it's going to be a really nice visitor list for like juniors, this next wave, which they're kind of all over because you're at 26 commits. Signing day's almost here. You'll add 3 or 4 or 5 more guys and move on to the next thing.
Great in-depth work by the On3 staff with Bryce Underwood in town a couple of weeks ago, following up on getting a story out of Underwood. It feels like you and your crew are trending in the direction that Underwood loves LSU and that it could be LSU once he makes his decision on January 6th. Where do the Tigers sit with a couple of weeks out here from his commitment date?
Yeah, he put out a top 7, but that's when you kind of start whittling teams away from it. I've said that Oregon, for instance, was the team people feared, hey, they could get involved and throw around NIL money, but they've got a legacy committed, as does Colorado. Both top 100 quarterbacks, both legacies. Achilles Smith, actually, Jr. is on the scene now as a top 100 quarterback. So I don't think he's going to Colorado. I don't think he's going to Oregon. It's always been Michigan-LSU battle. He threw in Florida State, which is an odd team because he's never visited them. So does he pop up there at some point? I don't know. But I would call it right now still an LSU-Michigan battle. And the thing we have to remember is he'll commit January 6th, but he still has a year left before he signs. He's only a junior in high school.
And LSU, I mean, obviously a bias down here, but what they're putting together around that position has to, like that has to be like the key.
Well, and what they're doing at the position.
Yeah.
I think, look, let's all Michigan drama and everything aside, I'm not even putting any of that into my equation of how I think of Bryce Underwood moving forward. I think that he lives about an hour in Belleville, about an hour from Michigan's campus. He's not been to a game there this year.
Wow.
And the only game left is Ohio State. Belleville's won back-to-back state titles. I mean, that's state championship weekend, so he's probably not going to be there that weekend either. So you go a whole junior season before you decide, and you never visit the school an hour down the road. But you flew down here with your whole family to visit. And in the past 6 months, 4 times he's flown down with his entire family, mom, dad, and sister, all to visit. So I think that even going into this season, that talking to people up on the Michigan side, E.J. Holland from On3, others, have said, oh, man, maybe slight lead to LSU. Yes, Michigan's undefeated. Yes, Michigan could well be in the playoffs. Yes, J.J. McCarthy is one of the names in the Heisman race. But his name, it ain't getting tossed around like Jayden Daniels. Jayden Daniels leads the nation in everything, total yardage-wise. He's in the Heisman race with 3 losses. Obviously, that's on the defense, not the offense. The offense is still, coming into this week, the number 1 offense in college football. And so I think when you set all those things up, like I already thought LSU was in a good 50-50 battle going into the season, and now you roll out the best offense in college football. That speaks to a 5-star quarterback. Now, you look at what you mentioned about what's around him. They already have DeCorian Moore committed, 5-star wide receiver. They already have Teron Francis committed, the best receiver in the state of Louisiana, for the 2025 class. You know they'll add more, and then you've got, 3 straight years now of O-line recruiting that's been elite, and you toss in, you're getting Caden Durham now, but Harlem Berry's the number 1 running back in the country. James Simon's the number 8 running back in the country. Like, you could pitch to a quarterback. You are pitching to a quarterback. Look, you're going to be surrounded by 5-star receivers, number 1 running back, 2 top 10 running backs, an O-line that's come 3 straight years of being elite. You see that it's already the number 1 offense in college football. You can take it to the next level with this group. So I think for me, that's I don't even know that. Is it sexy or it's like, compare that to Michigan's offense, which is just running the football. It's setting it up. J.J. McCarthy's not putting up those type of numbers. So while Bryce could go anywhere and win, I think he almost views himself more as an LSU type guy.
Be incredible. Joe Sloan's done incredible.
It'd be the
work.
biggest recruiting win of the past 20-something years for LSU. I mean, Fournette was in state.
Yeah.
Russell Shepard at the time was a massive, massive win. But that was Houston. That was, you win Harold Perkins. You can win battles in Houston.
Yeah.
But to get a guy from Michigan.
Pat
Pete would be up there.
Still
Top
Florida.
5.
Like, these are southern
top 5
southern
players.
states.
Yeah, but then it's still Florida. To go that far away for the number 1 overall player and quarterback would be something special.
It would be unbelievable. All right, so we saw Draylon Miller decommit from Texas A&M, and we thought it was going to be kind of a quick decommitment, recommitment to LSU at the time.
Yeah.
Now time has elapsed. He's been to different campuses. What's going on with this, and what's the timeline here?
I think he's on his own timeline, which is I'm going to take some more visits. He might be at A&M this weekend. I know he'll be at Southern Cal next weekend. I don't think he ultimately winds up at USC. Then he'll be at LSU for that A&M game, and then he'll be probably ready to decide because you've only got a couple of weeks until signing day. I would still say LSU's the leader. I think one thing, they want to add one more wide receiver here to the mix down the stretch, and I think that it is important of how does LSU finish out and how does A&M finish out. And not just for Draylon, but for a number of kids. If A&M falls flat and keeps losing games, if they lose 2 more games, and what are they now, 5-4? And it's a 7-5 season.
Wow.
And LSU wins out and they're at 9-3 or whatever it is and can get to 10 wins again. The first 2 years of the Kelly era are double-digit win seasons back-to-back. One time you're SEC West champ. The other time you've got the number 1 offense in college football compared to an A&M team who all of the smoke is around staff changes. Are we done with Jimbo? Blah, blah, blah. And I've said it before. People, I think, keep forgetting it. Bears repeating. A&M's had 1 10-win season in 20 years.
Cool.
And it was the COVID year.
No, then we can give them 2.
Okay.
They had 9 that year. They went 9-1. So
Semantics.
let's call it 2. 2 in 20 years. LSU's rolling out 2 10-win seasons in Brian Kelly's first 2 years here, maybe. So the trajectory of the 2 programs, I think, is something LSU can really sell.
Yeah. Obviously, when you look at LSU, you would think they need these massive overhaul and help on defense. What is recruiting like on that side of the ball right now?
Well, certainly heavy on high school guys because they want to be able to rebuild the defense by bringing in high school players that you can develop. And that's what LSU's always been known for. Never has LSU's defense been elite, and you've been like, glad they got those 7 transfers. It's always been they recruited that guy, they developed him, and whether he was a 5-star or a 3-star, he ended up being this really good player for him, and it's just sort of like you reload every year. And right now it's more like you're in scramble mode. Like every year you're trying to hit the portal to fill all these gaps. So I think the goal this cycle is to go heavy on high school kids, way less portal kids. I mean, they've hit double-digit numbers on the portal twice now in the only 2 years they've been here. I think they'll be more around 5, 6 guys. And fill them in at positions you need. Other than that, you're heavy, heavy high school, and you try to develop them. That's the goal.
Where do they stand on Gabriel Reliford?
Man, that one is just, it's interesting. We'll see. I think this weekend he has a chance to go to A&M or LSU. I think he's going to go to A&M because I think he'll come back for LSU for the A&M game at the end. they still have an official visit with him, which I think is big. So for me, the key with Gabriel Reliford, who's a D lineman at Evangel, who I think is the best D lineman in the state, is get him in and his family for an official visit in December. You get those in-home visits, and that's when you really sit down with, the staff and Kelly and Frank Wilson and guys like that, and they hit you with the truths of, all right, look, rubber's about to meet the road. Here's what's ahead for you. If you come here, you're lined up for all this. This is how you can be developed. And one thing that's just wild and it's tough to overcome is, I went and counted again yesterday, 10 years now, more than a decade, they've not had the same D-line coach in back-to-back seasons.
Damn.
So even when Bill Johnson, the one person who was here for back-to-back seasons, remember he took over for Meatball after fall camp when Meatball tore both of his knees and couldn't be out there coaching. So Coach O brought in a guy like Bill Johnson to help out, and then he stayed for the next year. So that lack of continuity leaves you in a spot where you're not like getting in early on D linemen, and then obviously the Jimmy Lindsey health stuff is something you can't predict, and now you have other people recruiting D linemen. So it's been a really odd run for a team that beyond DB, LSU's been known as a team that can push out D linemen, but it's just not been the case on the recruiting front really in the past couple of cycles.
One more on defensive line. Charleston Collins is a name that keeps popping up.
Yeah, he's still committed to Arkansas, but obviously Arkansas is not having too great of a season. He's from Pine Bluff, and his buddy, another Pine Bluff kid, Courtney Crutchfield, who's a receiver, has already decommitted. And now he's visited or will visit Missouri. He's going to look to visit LSU for that A&M game. That A&M game is going to have so many visitors. But he could be a guy that if Traylon Miller doesn't get in and, the dominoes fall their way, you could land a Courtney Crutchfield. Missouri's all over him. Excuse me. Missouri did not get Ryan Wingo, a big receiver that they thought they would get. He's going to go to Texas. So I think now they've sort of just said, all right, now we're on Courtney here. Courtney Crutchfield, you take all this that Ryan Wingo could have had. And that might be tough to beat out. But we're keeping an eye on Charleston Collins. He's not decommitted yet. But remember, he picked Arkansas over LSU. It's a border state. He's already visited Ole Miss. He's going to visit LSU at the end of the month. So it's at least someone worth monitoring, given they do need D linemen, and he was one early on that a lot of people thought could end up at LSU.
One for 2024 is Jabari Antoine, a cornerback out of Westgate. How's LSU's relationship at that part of the state, at that high school specifically, and where are they trending with Antoine?
It's LSU or Texas for Antoine. I think Texas has made a big impression on him. Look, LSU's, as crazy as it sounds, is trying to regain some footing at Westgate. I mean, yes, you had Keyshawn Butte, but it was that first, I guess, the transition from O to Kelly.
The Danny Fields one, right?
No, not Danny Lewis.
Danny Lewis?
Tight end went to Alabama and did not go to LSU. And then you followed up with Derek Williams leaves the state, and he was a top 2 or 3 player in the state, as a safety, which was a position of need. Now you've got Demarion Johnson, a D lineman, committed to LSU. And then in the next class, you've got Antoine. So it's sort of gone LSU, Texas, LSU, and now what happens? Does Antoine go to Texas or does he stay in state? And I think because he's a junior and because, look, there's uncertainty surrounding this defensive staff. We don't know what Kelly's going to do this offseason. So I think we know more about Antoine in the offseason and kind of what his relationship with LSU is moving forward when we know for sure what this staff looks like, going into 2024.
Make sure and give us a like, share, and follow. Comment if you don't mind. John Bro inside the chat says, #AskShay. Any update on JUCO Jaden Hamlin?
Yeah, so I did a prediction piece this week. Had Jaden Hamlin in it. I do think they go JUCO for some D linemen. And Hamlin is a kid out of Alabama originally, but has been playing very well at the JUCO level. One of the top 5 D linemen on 3. And a lot of SEC teams are after him, but he's making visits. He will be here for that A&M game. Then he'll announce in early December he is a take. They have it's someone they want, so I would keep an eye on him. They're in a battle with a couple of SEC teams, but Hamlin's told us that he's really high on LSU and he hadn't even gotten the chance to visit. So maybe that visit pushes him over the top.
Everything in good standing with Shone Washington as well?
Yeah, that'd be the other JUCO D lineman thereafter. And New Orleans native who went to Georgia, spent a year there, left, went to East Mississippi, and now is looking to bounce back to a 4-year. And I think LSU's in the driver's seat there. So I would think they get at least one JUCO D lineman, maybe two, but you'll take whatever help you can get on the D line right now. I think one big thing on the D line, Jordy, is getting how many people can you get to come back from this year's team? Because look, there's a lot of draft eligible guys, but they may not warrant leaving. So I'm curious who all they can get to return.
You mentioned the Texas A&M commits, and we talked Reliford, obviously, with Weston Davis decommitting and flipping to LSU and Draylon Miller. Terry Bussey's the other one?
Yeah, he's a 5-star out of Timpson. Has just kind of kept quiet with his recruitment. For me, I'm hesitant because he has always been an Aggies lean. And he gave Bama an official, he gave LSU an official, and then he committed to A&M. And it was no surprise to anyone. I mean, he even said, I was going to commit to A&M over the summer, but he had been injured and he couldn't take some visits. So he was like, I want to at least go see Bama and LSU. And I think LSU finished in second. But like 2 weeks after he committed, he pops up at an LSU game, and it's like, okay, are you still kind of looking around? What's the deal? And in this span, we've seen Draylon Miller decommitted, Weston Davis flipped, Gabriel Reliford has now made multiple visits to LSU. We're talking A&M commitments here. But then Bussey has stood firm. We haven't heard anything about a decommitment. I'd like to see if he pops up and, does he come to that A&M game at the end of the season? Do you get him back on campus? Because you've already had an official visit. Again, I go back to what I said at the beginning of what is the trajectory of these two teams in these final 3 games? Does LSU win out and A&M lose 2? That puts a lot of pressure on that staff to keep that class, especially if staff changes come. If you have to get rid of a coach or two and that coach is recruiting this kid, it shakes things up. So that maybe doesn't speak specifically to Terry, who's an athlete and could play any position on the field. But when you see and you hear the buzz around, oh man, changes could be coming, and on the other side at LSU, it's, hey, we're in our first 2 years. We just want to build this foundation, and while building the foundation, we've had 10-win seasons and #1 offenses and won the West, and things that A&M is very far from doing right now.
Defensive lineman Antonio Alfano.
Yeah, long time no see, huh? Derek and Derek Stingley were in the same class.
That's right.
They were battling for #1 player. He's in JUCO now. He's at Lackawanna and has picked up a lot of offers. I don't know what to project. I don't know where he's going to. It's not going to be LSU, but I don't know where he ends up. I'd maybe even be a little surprised if it was an SEC team. I think he might end up back at kind of a middle of the road Power 5 school. Yeah, would be my pick.
Shea Dixon, a part of Bengal Tiger, and of course on social media at Shea Dixon, keeping up with all what's happening this weekend. Should be a big recruiting weekend as far as visitors concerned. So I know you guys will be out. I know it's a busy day for you on Saturdays.
Yeah, get out there early and check out hopefully the rain holds off and see all the guys who come into town. And then the reunion is this weekend.
That's right.
So that's going to be pretty massive for that class is 03 reunion, which is 20 years now.
Yeah.
So I'm sure Nick is skipping the Kentucky game. He'll be here probably.
That's right.
Leading the way.
Saban taking the red eye in to celebrate with the crew.
They play at 11, so you can just fly over after and come get presented on the midfield. To quarter break. Everyone welcome Nick Saban out to the field.
Welcome back.
Coach of the 03 team.
Look at this. Look at this.
He would get a standing ovation.
You might recognize him from a week ago, the loss. But no, it should be a fun weekend. I'm sure all those
the man who broke the spy.
Yes.
I'm sure all those 03 guys are pumped to get back.
It should be good to see that crew back, man.
Who's your favorite?
My favorite on that team, Clayton on offense.
Yep.
Was my favorite. And then defensively,
Justin Vincent's going to have a word with you here.
Corey Webster.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay, there we go.
I mean, I get, it's probably a Marcus Spears, Marquise Hill.
Oh, yeah.
Chad Lavallee was probably the best defensive player in college football that year. Yeah, young LaRon.
Jack Hunt.
Jack Hunt was on that team.
Was Lavallee
Who was the cornerback opposite Corey Webster on 03? Was it Travis Daniels?
Was it Daniels or is he a 7?
No, Travis Daniels was 03. I was trying to think because they burned his
Xenon would have been 7 then.
Yes.
Yeah, Xenon was 07.
Was Lavalley the prison?
Yeah, Marksville.
Yeah.
Of Oyles Parish.
They named the town after him.
He was a prison guard.
He ain't sneaking out.
In fact, they said they said that he's the only one they can't find.
Really?
We were talking to Justin Vincent about the 03 reunion, and one of the only guys that they could not contact was Chad Lavalley.
Do y'all remember Rocky Duplessis?
Yes.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, number 40.
Yeah. So
Cover kicks.
Yeah, he
lunatic.
Yeah. So I got a funny story. I'm sure he wouldn't mind me telling it. But Brandon, they were putting together a reunion from, I guess whatever team it was. But Brandon Taylor was heading it up, and I was like, "Man, Brandon, you got to bunch the team back in town." He's like, "Man, the only person I couldn't track down was Rocky," and I laughed. I was like, "Yeah," and he goes, "Yeah," but. Then he called me this week, and I'd been putting out feelers for months. And he's like, "Yo, Brandon, my bad, man. I'm living off the grid these days. Like, just got your message." And I laughed, and he was like, "Man, you laugh, man, but Rocky was that dude back in the day." He goes, "Me." And you remember Brandon had his brothers,
that's right,
Curtis and Jaron, that were pretty big time players. And he said, "Bro, we used to on weekends when you'd play 7-on-7." We'd leave Franklinton and we'd pick up Rocky. And when we'd show up, Rocky was that dude. Everyone was like, "Who's that guy?" And he would just bust dudes' heads up in 7-on-7.
He was a killer on kickoff team, bro. He was.
So living off the grid. Probably not listening to the show today.
Right. Not surfing YouTube this morning?
Yeah, got the bunny ears out.
Shea, that crew's coming to the Football Friday today at Lod Cook. We got a lot of, if you want to get out and get the football weekend going, I know Dwayne Bowe's going to be there.
Ooh.
I know Jacob Hester's going to be there. I know Herb Tyler's going to be there.
Oh.
I know Troy Twilley's going to be there. I know Leonard Marshall is going to be there. Sam Nader
Franklin Nader
is going to be there. There is a who's who, not to mention the 03 team that's coming through there. We've talked to guys like Clayton Spears, Corey Webster, a bunch of the headliners, Justin Vincent, that said that they are going to be making their way through. Matt Malk, obviously, as well. So
this is obviously how old men get hurt, but this is when you want to clear out the parking lot and get like Herb Tyler and somebody out there and be like, "Y'all want to run a little 40? Y'all want to race?
Y'all want to race?" Have a great weekend, bro.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks for closing out your week here with us. Make sure to hit that like button, share button, comment button. We'll be back with you on Monday morning, 7 a.m., built by R&B Builders.
Hey, Chino, put my headphones up, bro. Right there. Monday through Friday from 7 to 9. Yeah, you see the notification, we about to go live. We got all your favorite guests, we got them in line. It's the Jordy Culotta Show, come have a good time. It's the hottest show around, we ain't gotta flex. Call up G, we get it done, we earning our respect. Tell recruits to let us in, where they going next. Throw up the L's, now we lit, band playing neck. From the boot to the east to the west coast. No matter where we at, we live, mic'd up for show. Open up the phone lines, come and join the show. Make sure you tell your friends about Jordy Culotta Show. Yeah, Monday through Friday from 7 to 9. Yeah, you see the notification, we about to go live. We got all your favorite guests, we got them in line. It's the Jordy Culotta